It's exciting to have this opportunity. We figured with the three of you here, three surviving members of the Novitiate Class of 53-54. By way of introduction, we thought we'd play a little bit of a game. So I'm going to read your novitiate biographies, and let's see if you can pick out who it is. This brother is a barber and takes care of about 8.5 heads.
Well, we got him right here.
Justus.
Here's right here.
Of course.
So Justus, who are you? Where are you from?
Okay, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. So I took the Ashland Avenue streetcar. I lived right off Ashland and came here and met Father Graham. And I looked at the pictures in the chapel. There's St. Albert the Great with what? I didn't know. Beakers for chemistry or something. And that struck me. And then, of course, there's St. Dominic in our chapel, too.
We've got Brother Justus from Chicago. Welcome.
Thank you.
Another brother from the novitiate. In line with this duty, he also locks up the house at night, a job which leads him to confess that he leaves his lights on after hours several times. Do you remember who was locking up?
No.
Okay, let's keep reading.
Okay.
Outstanding for silence and custody, this brother makes up for this at rec when his athletic club goes out for daily workout.
Must be Pierre Rearden.
Not Pat Rearden.
No.
Right now, he claims Oak Park as his former
Must
home.
be Ed Riley.
It would be Ed Riley. So Ed, who are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Oak Park. I lived on Humphrey Avenue. I went to Fenwick High School. So that's where I met the Dominicans. Then I went to St. Joseph's College because I got a partial scholarship there. And after my first year at St. Joe's, I came to St. Pius just like Justus did and saw Father Graham. I told him I was from Fenwick, that was enough. I don't know that he knew my mother. She was in the Mother's Club, I think. But anyway, he just said, well, come to the novitiate.
And our third brother. In high school, he was a 3-sport man and received letters in football, basketball, and baseball. He holds a football letter from St. Louis University. Who might that be?
It might be Pierre Rearden.
It might be Pat Rearden. Might just be. So who are you? Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Evanston. I went to St. Benedict's College in Atchison, Kansas, which now is called Benedictine University. I was there for a year and I got hurt playing football. So I decided in high school, football was a game, college it was a job. So I came back to Chicago and worked my way through Loyola University for 2.5 years and graduated in 1953. Two of our high school classmates were in the novitiate, Dan Carter and Larry Burke. So we went up on the hill to see them, and Larry gave me a pamphlet. I'd been thinking about the priesthood. He gave me a pamphlet on the Dominicans, and then I saw Father Graham, and I said, I like sports. Do they do any sports in the novitiate? Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of sports. Graham, he'd give you a line, he could sell you anything. And I said, what do I need? Take a train up to La Crosse, they'll meet you there, but you have to have a black suit. And so I got to Winona, and one classmate from my high school was already in the novitiate up there, and they said, he came up to me and he said, good morning, Brother Rayfield. And I looked behind me, who was behind me? And that was my name. They gave me a name. So everybody in those days was given a name. You didn't pick your name like you do now. And so that was it, and they gave me Brother Hyacinth as an angel.
What was it like showing up to the novitiate and entering in?
Well, my dad worked for the Burlington Railway, so I got a free ticket from Chicago to Winona. I knew they gave different names, so they just, I don't know how they got my name, Justus, Justus. But my baptism name was Marcel, or Marcel, which I didn't like. So I was happy to get a new name, and I never changed it except on passports now or medical things.
And Ed, what was it like arriving for you?
The main thing I remember is about the name. I knew my name before I got there, although I didn't know it, because my sister-in-law was a friend of the Dominicans. She lived in River Forest. The Quran family was very close to the Dominicans. And so they were talking about giving names when you get there. And she said, what if they give you a name like Hubert? Oh, they don't give names like that. Because there were ads on the TV, like Hubert the Lion or something like that. It was, I forget what the ad was, but I said, they don't give names like that. And when I got there, they said, oh, Brother Hubert. So I was Hubert, which I used all the way through. And even when I was in Nigeria, it was used as my middle name. I was Edward Hubert Riley.
Well, today with people who enter the novitiate, one of the big concerns is always family and how the parents will feel. So how did your parents feel about your decision to enter the Dominicans?
My mother was happy because she was very religious. My dad had no big objection. He never said anything against it, but he probably wasn't quite as happy.
You mentioned your angels who helped to get you settled. Was that a standard tradition of the novitiate? At the end of the novitiate, were you an angel to someone else as well?
I don't remember being an angel, but that was the tradition, at least for the 4 or 5 years ahead of us, those going to Winona. We had somebody to guide us.
Sit next to you and show you the breviary and things
Yeah,
like that.
I remember Matt Hines say, purple ribbon is for proper, whatever that meant, you know, and it was confusing going through the breviary.
So one of the big moments, I think, in any religious's life is the first Christmas away from home. It sounds, according to your novitiate chronicles, I'm going to slide it over to you, it sounds like you were up all night between midnight mass and between the celebrations and the parties.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and bring it over.
Brother Kenneth distributes presents. Midnight Mass.
Was it midnight?
Angelus and Bede were the cantors
And
for solemn lauds.
Justus was the cross-bearer.
So I have an invitation for you, or maybe perhaps an invitation from you.
To the fathers, you are cordially invited to attend the Holy Innocents Party to be held on Monday evening, December 28, 53, at 8 p.m. in St. Jude Hall, the novices. Do you remember that? I don't remember that.
No, but we had Holy Innocents, certainly.
That was a big day, the Holy Innocents.
And Holy Innocents,
We had to do a play or something like that.
St. Peter Martyr Players.
Look at that.
So being so enclosed during the novitiate year, what did you do for fun?
We laughed a lot. Every mistake during the office, people would start laughing.
Yeah.
Even very little things, you would start laughing all the time.
And there were a lot of mistakes.
So you mentioned a bowling alley. Where was this bowling alley? What were the details of that?
It's right below the chapel.
Yeah.
And it was 3 bowling alleys, and every Sunday night we'd have bowling. That was about the only time we did it. We didn't practice during the week, right?
No.
We had a handball court there. We used that. Then we had it on the garage back. We had a basketball, and we built a rink for the skating. Those were the activities that we had. Oh, we had softball too. We played softball.
Also, the bowling alley had a punching bag. I like to go down and use the punching bag.
Okay, I did.
Father Pat, why don't you read February 5th right here?
Well, today was a tobogganing accident. Brother Raphael, Aiden, Fidelis, and Wolfert were all hurt, especially Brother Raphael and Fidelis, who are in bed. Brother Raphael has a badly bruised leg. I remember that. Fidelis has a badly bruised as well. He's badly bruised. Yeah.
I think Fidelis landed on his rear end.
Well, while it might have been the biggest accident of the year, it sounds like it wasn't the only sports injury.
Brother Hubert and Quentin bumped heads playing football. And both had to have stitches taken.
Oh my God.
There was a special visitor in May. Justus, I want you to read this one.
Okay.
May 11th, right there,
May 11th.
in the middle of the page.
Monsignor Lawton, Prefect Apostolic of Sokoto, British West Africa. Isn't that amazing? And Father Larcher of the Japan Mission came for a visit. We had movies tonight, which Monsignor Lawton attended, and afterwards he told us about his new work and showed us his monsignorial robes. Okay, yeah, that gave us information about missionary work.
When he visited, did you ever expect to join him in Nigeria?
I didn't know, but as the years went on, people like Father Shea would come back, Father Windbacher, show us slides.
I didn't go to the missions till long after I was ordained. I was taught at Dominican College in Racine for 3 years, and then Xavier University in New Orleans for 3 years. Then the provincial sent someone down to New Orleans to talk to me and say, how would you like to go to Nigeria and teach in the seminary? And I thought, well, teaching in the seminary is the best thing a Dominican can do, so I said, sure, I'd like to go. And so they said, well, write the provincial letter saying you'd like to go to Nigeria to teach in the seminary, which is what I did.
It's somewhat interesting that all three of you ended up missionaries and serving for most of your Dominican lives in the missions. Was that the case for many of your classmates as well?
Well, Justus and I and Bede and Karen, we were four. Yeah, two to Africa and two to Bolivia. And then Ed came along later. Mm-hmm. There were no more classmates who went to Bolivia, as far as I know.
And how long did each of you serve in the missions?
Well, as my Irish mother said, my son was 40 years in Bolivia. So that tells you how long I was in Bolivia.
And I was 45 in Nigeria. Yeah. Justus was what, 57?
In Nigeria.
So the other thing that really impresses me about the three of you is that you're still in great shape for your ages. What keeps you going at this point in your life, in your Dominican life? What keeps you moving and keeps you healthy and holy?
We're all very devoted to the regular life of the Dominicans. We all go to office regularly and recreation and all the things that we do as Dominicans, and it gives you a foundation.
What's given you the drive to remain active in the ministry as well?
I spend a lot of time trying to raise money and help people in Nigeria. And I think one of the reasons was that my first few years in Nigeria, there was a man working for us just cleaning the house and cooking and everything else. And he had a daughter who was probably around 10 or 11. And he had worked for some man before. This man continued sending money. The man went back to America, continued sending him money. I knew how important to him that money was for helping himself and his daughter. So when I came back from Nigeria, I've tried to continue helping the poor. What was a big part of my ministry while I was there, but I tried to continue, and that's how I spend a lot of my time.
Well, do you have any advice to young men who might be considering a vocation to the Dominicans?
It's a good idea.
It's a wonderful vocation. If it's your calling, it's a wonderful vocation to serve the Lord and preach the gospel, and be with the people, serve the people, serve God's people. If that's your vocation, give it a try. You can't go wrong on that. And if it's not, and you decide to leave, get married is a good vocation as well. We're not speaking against marriage, but I always jokingly say, I got to preach to get some people in my union too. you know, the plumbers union, the farmers union, all, now with the police union. We need some new guys. And as you know, once in a while at Mass, I'll say, how many of you got children, single boys, 15 to 30 years of age? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you grandparents have grandsons 15 to 30 years of age and they're single? Would you ever think that they could be priests? You know, I got a lot of snow on the roof here. You know, I'm not going to be around very long. It's a wonderful vocation, and we need priests.
Somehow the Dominican vocation is unique. Yes, one priesthood, one religious life, but somehow I think in many ways St. Dominic was the most Christ-like person. There are other saints more popular, but there's something about his priesthood and his preaching. If you want to help people, preaching in many ways, but if you want to help people, as St. Paul says, you know, how will they know unless someone is sent? So that's one way to help people, to be sent, to preach.
Well, thank you three for sitting with us for this interview, and it's been delightful and enlightening and encouraging for us.
Is there a stipend?
We'll send the contract negotiations your way.
But we thought that, didn't you think there was going to be a stipend for this?